Good afternoon, and welcome to 50 Somethings. Welcome back to our journey from the United States to Panama land. As you all know, we started our journey back in July of 2025, leaving our home in the state of Washington and driving 6,000 miles and across 20 states to visit all of our friends and family before finally arriving in McAllen, Texas, and preparing to leave the United States to drive to the country of Panama. It took us 7 days to reach Panama, crossing 7 total country borders to reach Panama. This particular video is going to document crossing into our second country from our last day in Mexico and crossing into Guatemala. The date of this video would have been October 22nd, 2025. What you're seeing in these first 2 videos is Mexican countryside and our drive from Villahermosa, Mexico, which was our last stop in Mexico. The drive from Villahermosa all the way to Frontera de Guatemala, which is the border of Guatemala. Again, it was another very beautiful and scenic drive. And it took us about 3 hours to reach the border from Villahermosa, Mexico. Please enjoy these videos and stills of the drive to the border. And as we get a little bit closer to the border, I will tell you what it costs to get through the border and the process to get through the border with ourselves and our pets. And of course, the bribes we had to pay, and detail a little bit more about that for you later in this video. For now, thanks for watching 50 Somethings. If you are new to the channel, thanks for joining us. Have a great day. An observation I want to share with you about this portion of our journey is that we were more nervous coming to this border than probably any other. Although we were nervous about coming into Mexico because it was a border leaving the United States, it wasn't as nerve-wracking to us as coming into Guatemala. I think Guatemala was more nerve-wracking because it was the first big border going from another country outside of the U.S. We were leaving Mexico and coming into Guatemala, and we really had no idea what to expect along the way, and it did make us a little nervous. As we neared the very southern portion of Mexico, I was noticing how tropical and jungly everything was starting to look, as you can see here out my left window. And it made me realize we are actually getting closer to Panama, especially now that we're getting close to a new country. It will only be another 4 days until we arrive. You may have noticed by now, after watching several of these driving videos through Mexico, that our driver Daniel in front of us is a very skilled driver at navigating through these streets and highways with all the crazy driving going on. Mari, our driver, was a newer driver, also very good, but not quite as slippery at sliding in between some of these cars and traffic as Daniel was. And from time to time, Mari had a hard time keeping up with them. As a general rule, you want to stay literally right on the back end of the car behind you, and Mari really tried to stay right on his heels whenever possible. As we approach Frontera de Guatemala, once again, I have to tell you how stunningly beautiful it was. The traffic started to become pretty non-existent as we got close to the border, and it was very, very scenic. We don't see a lot of traffic again from this point in the video until right as we approach the border, and then there will be a long line of semis waiting to go in. So from here on out, enjoy the beautiful scenery, and then we will talk about the border crossing. We have arrived in Guatemala as of these next images. The town we are going to stay in for the night is Flores, Guatemala. And about the day. The day was strictly driving and crossing the border into Guatemala, as you saw in the last photo, at El Ceibo, Frontera. About this border crossing. Leaving Mexico was easy. Literally all we did was park the van, leave the pets in the air conditioning, and go up to the immigration window to check out. They asked us if we were leaving, took the papers we received when we entered Mexico in Reynosa, stamped our passports, and said, "Adios, buenas tardes." Entering Guatemala was different. The first stop was pet inspections. We had to take all of our pets out of the van to be inspected. For our dog Panda, she got a thorough physical evaluation. Her ears, mouth, butt, and her whole body was palpated. For our cats, we had to line up all three of them in their carriers on a table. The inspector wanted to take them out of their crates, and I said, "Yo necesito ayudar con los gatos." He was surprised that I knew some Spanish and allowed me to help so my cats would not try to escape. We opened each crate one at a time. I held the cats back while he read their names and ages and looked at their faces and ears and then shut their crates. The inspector took copies of their rabies certificates, health inspection records, and our passports for their files. The second stop was immigration. They took our passports and stamped us into Guatemala with a 90-day stamp. They then asked how long we were staying in country, and we were finished. The third stop was customs. This was the longest part of the immigration process getting into Guatemala. It started with them wand spraying the underside of our van. Then the driver went off and talked to the customs agents while we waited. Next, we got out with our dog while they did a brief search of the inside and outside of our van. They then removed 2 suitcases and looked them inside and out and returned them to the van. After that was some more negotiating between the customs agents and our driver. When finished, they put a sticker on our window and they were done. The entire process from leaving Mexico and entering Guatemala took approximately 2.5 hours. Now, that negotiating I'm speaking of involved some bribes, and let me talk briefly about the bribes. Before we entered Guatemala, our driver, Mari, told us it was going to be roughly $700 to get us through the Guatemalan border. Part of that was because we are not staying in Guatemala to spend any money there, and there's a little bit of a fine to pay when doing that. Guatemala is a poor country, and they look for revenue any way they can get. So that was a per-person fine for not staying in country and spending money there. On top of that, they have the ability to really delay your border crossing if you don't pay these bribes. We could have not paid them, and we could have just been sitting there going through this whole procedure and taking a very long time. Because we paid the bribes, we got through in just 2.5 hours. Unfortunately, it did cost us $700. After we left the border, it took us a remaining 3 hours to get to our hotel, and it was fairly uneventful up until the last 45 minutes when our GPS route, the only route available to us, took us down a super sketchy, very rough, pothole-filled gravel road in the dark for over 15 kilometers. We were crawling along in the dark and it wasn't fun. We did not like it, and either did our cats. Needless to say, we did make it safely to our beautiful hotel. Anyway, thanks for following along and enjoy these last videos and images now from the country of Guatemala. I do just want to make a quick little side note to let everybody know not to worry too much that we paid $700 in bribes. We do recoup some of that money in Honduras, and we will explain that in a little bit more detail in our next video when we talk about crossing the border into Honduras. As we were driving through this first little bit of Guatemala, and pretty much all of Guatemala that we saw, we noticed that every business was pretty much open air. We almost never saw windows that had glass in any building. If there were doors, they were like garage doors to shut things up. Almost nobody had glass. We're not sure if it was because it was a poor country and it was just too expensive to have glass, or if the weather just didn't need glass, but it was something we noticed, open air. And as you're looking at these photos, maybe you will see that yourself. Every once in a while we did see something with glass, but for the most part, nobody had glass.